SpaceX's Crew Dragon. Everything you need to know. At the end of August, NASA awarded 5 additional crew transportation missions to Elon Musk's SpaceX and its Crew Dragon spacecraft to take the NASA astronauts to the International Space Station, or ISS. This brings the total number of crew transportation missions that SpaceX is contracted to fly for NASA to 14. In today's video, let's find out more about SpaceX's Crew Dragon spacecrafts. But before we get started, welcome to Elon Musk Times, the place to be for news about Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and today, SpaceX's Crew Dragon spacecraft. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and make sure to hit that bell icon so you never miss a video. And now, let's dive right in. With the help of NASA, private space exploration firms have been able to take giant strides in creating safe and efficient technology for space travel and exploration. As with everything he does, Elon Musk and his SpaceX is at the front line of this industry. Musk and his company have been working to create tech that allows faster interplanetary travel as humans work to become interplanetary species, pretty much like the sci-fi movies we all know and love. SpaceX wants to open space travel to more people than just the very affluent and the government. The Crew Dragon, being reusable, significantly lowers the cost of space travel, allowing for more people to see the great beyond. Additionally, each Crew Dragon has 7 seats as opposed to Russia's spacecraft Soyuz's 3. Due to the high level of automation, training times are reduced. Many people could soon be transported to low Earth orbit by SpaceX's spacecrafts. Elon Musk has frequently stated that he aims to send humans to Mars, which is significantly further away than just orbit. While the Crew Dragon cannot complete that 140 million mile journey alone, it is a first step in the process. Now that we have a grasp of what SpaceX is about, what is the SpaceX Crew Dragon? Let's take a look at some specs, shall we? In his trademark fashion, Elon Musk revealed the first Crew Dragon prototype in May 2014 at a gathering at SpaceX's building in Hawthorne, California, as if it were the launch of the newest Tesla vehicle. In contrast to the winged space shuttle concept, which was intended to carry both a crew and a significant payload, the crewed version of Dragon 1 was a capsule design similar to the Apollo command modules that transported astronauts to the moon. This gumdrop-shaped capsule includes touchscreen controls in true 21st century fashion. The Crew Dragon capsule is autonomous, so unless something goes wrong, the astronauts will primarily just need to keep an eye on the systems and communicate with mission control, pretty much like Tesla's self-driving vehicles. The capsule is fastened to a trunk component from launch until just before re-entry. The trunk has solar panels, heat removal radiators, and fins to provide stability during emergency aborts. The capsule and trunk measure 13 feet in diameter and stand about 27 feet tall. Up to 16 Draco thrusters on the Crew Dragon control the craft in orbit. Without gravity, each Draco can exert 90 pounds of force. The Crew Dragon's first manned flight into orbit took place on May 30th, 2020. The following day, it docked with the ISS and delivered NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley to the ISS. The flight from Cape Canaveral to the International Space Station took 19 hours. Hurley and Behnken's ability to monitor systems and operate the ship using 3 enormous monitors was a far cry from the analog knobs, buttons, and control sticks seen in NASA's Space Shuttle's cockpit, which operated from 1981 to 2011. SpaceX left no stone unturned in creating the Crew Dragon, making it modern and easy to use. You can tell from the capsule's superior interior that the company didn't spare costs. How does this new spaceship operate then? The Crew Dragon's most striking feature is that it appears to be the first human spaceship that was genuinely constructed with some consideration for aesthetics. You can tell the difference if you put it next to something like the Boeing Starliner, similar to the original Apollo capsules that first transported men to the moon. It has a sleek nose cone that hinges up and out of the way to expose the docking port, rather than just leaving it exposed like on the Boeing capsule, and the 4 Draco engine pods, 2 engines per pod, are housed in streamlined appearing fairings. Overall, it looks superb. SpaceX created and produced the Crew Dragon, sometimes referred to as the Dragon 2, primarily for trips to the International Space Station. There are 2 variants, Cargo Dragon, an improved version of the original Dragon 1, and Crew Dragon, a spacecraft that can carry 4 crew members. The spacecraft comprises a disposable trunk module and a reusable space capsule. Launched atop a Falcon 9 Block 5 rocket, the spacecraft uses splashdown to land back on the planet. As of 2022, Crew Dragon will be the sole reusable orbital crewed spacecraft, reusable orbital cargo spacecraft, and human-rated orbital transport spacecraft in the United States. Its main function is to carry crews to and from the International Space Station as part of NASA's Commercial Crew program, replacing the Space Shuttle's crew orbital transportation capabilities, which were decommissioned in 2011. Crew Dragon's also used for commercial trips, some of which go to the International Space Station, and is expected to be used to transport people to and from the future space station being built by Axiom Space. 8 Super Draco engines make up the integrated push or launch escape mechanisms that Crew Dragon has, which can accelerate the vehicle away from the rocket in an emergency. Originally, SpaceX planned to use the Super Draco engines to land Crew Dragon, with parachutes and an ocean splashdown possible in the event of a launch failure. For the first few Crew Dragon flights, precise water landing with parachutes was suggested by NASA as the standard return and recovery method. Later, a propeller landing was abandoned, leaving simply a splashdown into the water using a parachute. Which kind of brings us to safety. How safe is the Crew Dragon? Well, spacecrafts include millions of individual components, and even a single faulty screw might mean the difference between success and failure. Launch and re-entry are the most challenging phases of any space mission because the crew and spacecraft are subjected to extremely high accelerations, temperatures, and pressures as they race through the atmosphere. Although SpaceX has considerable experience launching and landing these comparable Dragon craft, even Elon Musk, the company's creator, is most worried about these test and launch phases. During static fire testing at the Landing Zone 1 facility on April 20, 2019, an explosion destroyed the Crew Dragon capsule used for the Demo 1 mission. The Crew Dragon's Draco thrusters had passed their initial test on the day of the explosion, with the anomaly occurring during a test of the Super Draco abort system. The issue occurred when a minor amount of dinitrogen tetroxide spilled into a helium line used to pressurize the propellant tanks, according to telemetry, high-speed camera footage, and analysis of recovered debris. The pre-test processing is where the leaking appears to have started. Due to the pressurization of the system, 100 milliseconds before firing, a check valve was destroyed, which led to the explosion. The explosion and investigation postponed the forthcoming in-flight abort test and the subsequent crewed orbital test since the wrecked capsule was intended to be used in those tests. The Super Draco engine test that was unsuccessful on April 20, 2019 was successful on November 13, 2019. At SpaceX's Landing Zone 1 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, the launch escape system for the Crew Dragon underwent a full-duration static fire test. The test was successful, demonstrating the effectiveness of the changes made to the vehicle to prevent an incident such as the one that destroyed the Crew Dragon used for the Demo 1 mission. The next in-flight abort test would be conducted using the same vehicle used for the ground test. Also, after the incident, both NASA and SpaceX stated that they, quote, are comfortable moving forward with the mission, end quote. So how often will the Crew Dragon fly? If the market for private missions becomes sufficient, a top manager at SpaceX claims that the company could stably launch 6 or 7 Crew Dragons per year. In a news conference after SpaceX successfully recovered Crew Dragon and 4 private Axiom 1 astronauts from the Gulf of Mexico, capping the first all-private voyage to the ISS, Benji Reed, Senior Director of Human Spaceflight Programs, shared his opinions on the subject. Reed responded that he, quote, would love to see half a dozen crew flights or more a year, and that SpaceX can sustain that pace if there's a market for it, end quote. Before you know it, you too can go to space on the adventure of a lifetime. Sounds fantastic. All right, so what do you guys have to say about this? Maybe you can't wait to board a Crew Dragon yourself, or maybe you'd just rather stay here on Earth. Let us know either way in the comments below, and leave us a fist bump if you like the video. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon too so you don't miss our next video. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.